welcome to Mupdates, your monthly Medfield updates. I'm Audrey Ensor. This episode of Mupdates is a special quarantine edition. We'll be talking about updates and events that happened in Medfield during the months of April, May, and June. In April, Medfield TV interviewed the Facebook group Medfield Makes Masks, Community Combining for a Cause, on our show, A Discussion With.
I think you had said that there were 88 hospitals or 88 different organizations that you had been helping. What is the actual size, the scale of this organization, or this group that I should say?
Well, right now I have 76 makers listed, but there are a lot of them that are anonymous, right? People, I just come down and, things appear in the magic silver box. I would guess closer, certainly 85.
216 people have joined. Now, some of them are just watching. Other people are donating things, volunteering to pick up, drop off, sewing, buying things, donating fabric.
Almost 100 causes we're giving to, including every single hospital in Eastern Massachusetts, a total of 5 states. So there's all these different cliques in the spectrum of the hospital, but there's also groups that you wouldn't necessarily think of. I mean, nursing homes is the most obvious one first, but any kind of long-term care, memory care units, disabled populations, mental health workers, home health workers, which is a whole nother dimension. But there's a lot of tributaries that kind of flow into this river. It's been really interesting to learn about the people. And all of them, whether it was a guy at Dunkies or the fire chief, they all kind of had the same look and they all said the same thing, which is, we don't have anything. So I think that's what kind of spurred us to say, wow, this is a real need.
Since this interview, Medfield Makes Masks has continued to provide items for various communities. The full interview can be seen on our watch page, medfield.tv/watch, or on our YouTube channel, Medfield TV. By PorchFest was held on May 2nd. This was a live music event held throughout town, where artists performed outside their homes and audiences gathered while social distancing or drove by to hear the music. Medfield TV was able to put together a video recap of the day, thanks to the community of Medfield submitting videos and photos from the event.
Thank you for everybody for coming by and stopping on this beautiful day. I went into an ale house I used to frequent, and I told the landlady my money was spent. I asked her for credit, she answered me nay. Such a custom as yours I can have every day. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more will I play the wild rover. No, never, no more.
You can view that video in its entirety on our watch page, medfield.tv/watch, or on our YouTube channel, Medfield TV. By PorchFest was a wonderful community event organized during quarantine, and we're looking forward to the original PorchFest event at Medfield State Hospital that has been rescheduled for September 12th. Medfield TV started a couple of new shows during quarantine, including the Mike Paige Doodle Club, the Mental Health Monday Project, and What the Youth. Mike Paige has been a great source of entertainment to our town for both children and adults while demonstrating how to draw on his show. From March 18th through May 4th, we aired new episodes of the Mike Paige Doodle Club daily. Now we have switched over to once a week, which airs on Mondays at 2 p.m. as part of Mental Health Mondays on Medfield TV's public channel. On this note, May was Mental Health Awareness Month. We started a new show at this time called the Mental Health Monday Project in collaboration with the Medfield Coalition for Suicide Prevention, Medfield Foundation, and Medfield Youth Outreach. So far, the featured guests include Jason Ebbs, Zoe Pollard, Mike Paige, the Kramer Sisters, Dave Pucci, Jerry Potts, and the Medfield Public Library. We released new episodes of the show on a weekly basis for the months of May and June. We're now shifting to airing a new episode of the Mental Health Monday Project once a month. These episodes, along with other videos pertaining to mental health awareness, will also air every Monday as a part of Mental Health Mondays on Medfield TV's public channel. What the Youth is a show that also debuted over the past couple of months. Hosted by our very own Assistant Production Coordinator, Linnea Whiting, this show is all about the youth of Medfield, their opinions, and what they've been up to. The first episode discussed various quarantine activities. The second episode has a guest appearance from Maddie Kermey and discusses ways to stay environmentally friendly in quarantine, as well as the homeschooling experience.
Hi, my name is Linnea, and you're watching What the Youth. For parents who are wondering what kids do all day, well, I'm here to tell you what we do. If anybody's looking for some fun things to do during quarantine, I have come up with a list. so enjoy.
So, because we're stuck in quarantine a lot, we have come up with a few ways to help the environment from home. Me and Maddie are both upcoming juniors at the high school. I have some questions for Maddie on her opinions about quarantine and what's going on with that. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Maddie.
This is Linnea, and we hope that you guys are staying safe during these unsettling times, and we will see you guys next time.
Best of luck in whatever you need luck in, and have a great day. Bye.
Another fun video Medfield TV put together during quarantine was Kurt Jackson's story of his first time at Fenway.
Hey folks, Kurt Jackson here, storyteller. Wanted to share a story with you when I was a kid, a long time ago. Now I loved baseball, and one of my favorite baseball players became Jim Rice of the Boston Red Sox. Now Jim Rice, he played left field, played in front of the Green Monster. But what I loved about Jim Rice is that he was strong. So when Jim Rice got up to bat, he would swing and crack. That ball would go a mile.
All episodes of our shows can be seen in their entirety on Medfield TV's watch page, medfield.tv/watch, or on our YouTube channel, Medfield TV. We now have an update from Brett Poirier, Medfield TV's general manager.
As the coronavirus shelled us to our homes and forced everyone across the world to hibernate, it was our job as a community access station to step up, connect people like never before, and help our community in every way possible. And we did just that. The first difficulty we had to endure as a station was the installation of a brand new playback system on March 6th, just 4 days before Governor Baker issued a state of emergency in Massachusetts. This forced us to learn an entirely new system on the fly, while we were desperately needed a true trial by fire. A network we have never used before suddenly became the connecting tissue the town needed in quarantine. Live selectmen meetings from Town Hall, streaming not only to our station, but now with a need for the public comment virtually, which was never done before. And this, all the while, we were also simply learning how to upload a show to our new servers, how to make the schedule, and how to connect our station network so that we could share our video files. One meeting, one socially distant meeting from Town Hall held on March 17, 2020, was all it took before that was declared not safe enough, and we had to meet our newest friend, the Zoom meeting. I said it before and I'll say it again, Town Administrator Christine Scherweiler has been a master and an incredibly adaptive person to have figured out how to stream those meetings to our YouTube page, which in turn, I had to take that stream and figure out how to stream it to our station and put that on our government channel and our watch page. It should be noted that this process was so new to everyone that even our brand new playback system had to create instructions and send out an update to accompany this new technology in order to accommodate access stations across the country suddenly needing this ability. This, of course, with the selectmen only days away. This would be one thing if it was an isolated issue, if it was all hands on deck, if our staff wasn't disassembled, but our staff was sent home. We began operating using Dropbox instead of instant transfers. Not being in the office together set up boundaries and challenges we never even thought possible. Our staff had to take everything they had in the office here at the studio and set up home offices. With their work computers and hard drives, cameras and tripods, it became an effort just to be able to work from home, never mind accomplishing anything. Needs across from the town, how would we be able to worship? Keep our elders safe and healthy, inform the public, promote local businesses, give our parents at home a minute to breathe, help with the rising issue of mental health, stay the wonderful, beautiful community of Medfield we all know, and how could we find a way to celebrate our senior class of 2020 who had everything taken from them? Our staff was able to truly pull together and keep our station running. The first issues we fought to solve were helping people reach worship, keeping our senior citizens safe and healthy, and giving our parents at home a much-needed 5 minutes. So I volunteered my time at St. Edward's Church, working with Reverend Steve and Greg and Deacon Fred to install a network like never before to live stream Mass directly from St. Ed's to Medfield TV and out to your home. These Masses would live stream on our public channel and our brand new watch page on our website online. Unfortunately, the very first live streamed Mass was the funeral for the late Philip Burr. Having literally just installed the system and only able to test it one time from St. Edward's, we were put in a difficult place. But we were so grateful that we were able to play a part in many people being able to say goodbye from home to a dear friend and community member. These Masses now run every weekday at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. on Sundays, where they repeat again at noon. Following these Masses is a series we created for senior citizens to work out from home. A very popular and needed program put on by the Senior Center, we were able to film a few workout regimens and schedule them into our new programming. I had to go to the Senior Center, set up camera equipment, leave the instructors in the room, hoping they stayed in frame, and then pick up the equipment later. That video was then moved to my computer at the studio and sent via Dropbox to our staff, who would edit and send the finished product back to me. I would have to download that to my computer, upload the finished product to our server, and schedule that each day following Mass. And while searching for ideas and events in our community to help kids at home stay active and entertained, I saw on Facebook a true talent and fantastic show with the Mike Paige Doodle Club. I immediately wrote to him and asked if he would socially distance himself in our studio and do some episodes for kids at home. Mike volunteered to come in once a week and film 5 episodes at once. That would go through the same process of uploading and downloading, but the Doodle Club had the added difficulty of being the very first show in Medfield TV history ever scheduled daily. These shows still air every day, starting at 2 p.m. and again at 3:30 p.m. on our public channel and watch page. But now the new episodes air once a week every Monday. These shows not only were a hit here in Medfield, but with our new playback system, we were asked to upload our content to the Media Exchange for syndication. Our Sunday Masses from St. Edward's, the Center Fitness, Artists of Medfield, A Discussion With, and the Doodle Club now air across the East Coast and are gaining popularity every day. We now not only highlight the great things and multi-talented individuals here in Medfield and town, but we help spread the word throughout the country. Local businesses needed to promote that they were still open. Again, learning our new system on the fly, we had to learn how to create and upload to our new bulletin board on our station. We used this to promote the hours of local businesses and asked Representative Denise Garlick for permission to share her updates from Instagram as well. You can see these while watching our station in between productions. Our next transformation came with community involvement. Being able to hold community events and capture town-wide events was at first an impossible task. But with the help of Dropbox request files, we were able to ask residents to pull out their cameras and become a part of the production. You sent us over 1,000 submissions from the PorchFest, which Medfield TV was so happy to be a part of the original planning for. But we have to give credit to Chris Potts and Jean Miniow, who took what could have been a fully canceled event and instead created a town-wide celebration. The rolling rally was handled the same way, allowing us to get pictures and videos from the entire rally to celebrate the class of 2020. Senior Recognition Night was a coordination with Stephanie Worthley at the high school, who took all of the teachers and awards and organized them and dropped them to us so we could transfer the files, convert them all, edit them, and create a production worthy of this amazing class. May, being Mental Health Awareness Month, seems years away now, but Medfield TV, who is a member of the Medfield Coalition for Suicide Prevention, a Medfield Foundation initiative as administered by the Medfield Youth Outreach, set up multiple events to help promote mental health. First, our staff created the Hearts that were funded by the Medfield Youth Outreach and put inside the Hometown Weekly. Then we created Mental Health Mondays, a day dedicated to our public channel to art, music, and relaxation. Filled with breathing exercises and health tips, musical performances, and art, we want to help the hardest day of the week feel a little less stressful. And that was coordinated by our staff and many different members of our community, like Johnny Dalton at Kung Pao Recording. The shows can be seen every Monday at 5 p.m., or you can go to our watch page to see our entire video library. Moving forward, we have town meeting and graduation to contend with, but Medfield TV is up for the challenge. Busier than ever, but motivated to help the town stay connected. Because at Medfield TV, community shows.
As we're all aware, there has been social unrest around the country in response to racism and police brutality in America. Medfield TV covered the solidarity gathering held in Medfield on June 7th, which evolved into a march in support of Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter. I don't really think that it's something that I should be telling people to do, you know? I feel like it's something people should already be doing. I shouldn't have to stand here and yell it. They should already be yelling. They should already be saying stuff. Black Lives Matter! 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 No peace! Black Lives Matter! No peace! No peace! Justice! No peace! Justice! No peace! Justice! No peace!
We also started a new show called Talking for a Change, where guests recommend and then discuss a movie or a show that pertains to Black history or a Black experience. In our first episode, Brett Poirier, Richie Wapenier, and Dante Wilson discussed the movie Just Mercy.
Following scene is him being arrested, being pulled over. Can you guys tell me about this moment, not only just in the movie, but for you guys, have you ever experienced anything like this? Have you ever experienced a moment of being pulled over, and what's that like?
About 3 or 4 years ago, I was seeing somebody else, and I was dropping her back home to her parents' house. And I drop her off. I'm in a predominantly Caucasian neighborhood. I've gone maybe 30 seconds away from her house. I stop at a red light because I don't know how to get home. So I stop at the red light, I put my address in, and then I go to take a right turn. The lights come on, I pull over to the side. I know the drill. Like my mom taught me as a young man what to do when the police come. As soon as I get to my window, I already have my registration. I got my license out. There's a left officer on the left-hand side and another officer on the right-hand side. The left-hand officer is talking to me, and there's another officer in the right side who's has a flashlight that's just checking my car everywhere. I was like, officer, can I know why I was stopped? He said that you didn't stop at the red light, which I blatantly knew was wrong because I didn't know how to get home. I needed to put in my address to get back to Boston. So I said, okay. He goes, I'm not giving you a ticket for anything. So I didn't understand why I was pulled over. He said I didn't stop at the red light and wasn't giving me a ticket. So he takes my registration and my license anyways. The officer is still on the right-hand side, on my passenger side, still looking inside my car. I'm sitting there, I have my hand on the steering wheel. I don't make any movements. The guy, I'm there for about 25, 30 minutes.
In comparison, I've been pulled over once in my life. I was leaving my girlfriend's house and took a right after a stop sign. I did blow through the stop sign and I was pulled over, and that altercation took about 5 minutes. Police officer came to my door, knocked on it, looked at me, said, can I see your license? Took my license, looked at it and said, you're too young to get a ticket. Be on your way, sir. And I drove home.
The Medfield Solidarity Gathering and Talking for a Change videos can be viewed in their entirety on our watch page or our YouTube channel. School committee meetings, Dale Street School Building Committee meetings, and various Medfield School Welcome Nights have been recorded over Zoom during this time. Those can also be seen on our watch page or YouTube channel. We now have an update from Medfield Superintendent Dr. Marsden.
When COVID-19 hit in the middle of March, we were looking at different models of, because we were hearing rumors about shutdowns happening. We actually canceled school on the Friday before the official shutdown happened. But for us to really reinvent how we were doing education in a very short period of time took a lot of work on behalf of the teachers and staff and principals, and everyone really worked together well to really pivot into a remote model, which in the beginning we thought it was only going to be a couple of weeks. So we're looking at a remote model of maybe 2 to 3 weeks. But then, as we know, that went from March all the way until June. So the initial work that we had done in planning for that was to really make sure we made connections to kids. So we made sure that every day teachers were making connections to kids. There was some assignments, but really focusing on the social emotional needs of our kids, because it was scary. I mean, all of a sudden you're in school and the next week there's no more school and everyone has to lock down. So as it gradually went on and we saw that this was going to be a very long shutdown, we tried to refocus and redo our efforts in terms of instruction and learning, and started to use platforms that kids could learn. And we had to do that differently for elementary, middle, and high school. And it worked out really well in the end, but there were definitely some hiccups along the way because we had to really pivot and change how we deliver instruction and learning almost overnight. The biggest thing that came out of this is that teachers collaborated more than ever. And it's something that in education we've been pushing for a long time. Instead of being in isolation in your classroom, is to collaborate more with your colleagues. And I would say that our teachers did an incredible job with collaboration. In fact, we've surveyed them and got some feedback, and they said that was probably the best learning experience they had during this whole process, is how to work together and work smarter, not harder, in terms of how to plan for lessons, how to deliver lessons. You had to make sure that the teachers and the kids and everyone was all set. So we had to, I think you have a different perspective when you're responsible for 3,000 people's lives and safety every day, which is what I'm responsible for. So you have that piece, and then you have the budget piece that still has to continue even though this other stuff is going on. So I think that the biggest challenge that we had, both the town and the school side, is that we didn't really have any numbers or information as far as the budget, because the state wasn't giving us numbers, because they had given us numbers right before the pandemic hit, and then everything really just shut down. So I think that was a real challenge for everyone, both the town and school side. But we've, Christine and I have always worked well together. I worked well with Mike, and we always had a great relationship. So I know that will continue, and that relationship piece really helped us out through the pandemic. And I just can't thank the community enough. I mean, I think working with the parents that planned the rolling rally, working with the town offices, departments, they really rallied around the kids to make sure that everyone's had a senior year and they know what that's like. And for that to be taken away from our kids in a way that it was, and it was really overnight. We were thinking about it, and then all of a sudden we shut down. And the spring of your senior year has so many great events that kids really reflect and really enjoy. And the fact that they couldn't do that was really disappointing for them. So we kept up with them. We had Zoom meetings a couple times a month just to touch base, see how everyone's doing. We gave support with our guidance. Our teachers did a nice job connecting with the kids as well. But it's still not the same. It's still not your senior year. So you didn't have a prom. You didn't have graduation the day you were supposed to have graduation. But we're looking forward to that graduation at the end of July this year for the kids. I would say that this is my 28th year in education. I would say the rolling rally that day in Medfield was probably one of the top 3 experiences I've ever been in terms of my professional career. The way that the community rallied around those kids and the planning that went in place, we had a whole cadre of parents that worked hard on that. It was really just a wonderful experience. I just felt really proud to be a part of it, and just so happy because I haven't seen that many smiles on those kids in a long time. So that was great. So we're planning right now for the opening in 2021 in September. So we're looking at 3 different models. The state has worked with us, and they've required us to present 3 different models to them in August. One model being an in-person model, so that we go into school in September like we always have, but with the safety and health precautions in place. Another model is hybrid, and we're still looking at that. There's different ways of doing that. Some districts are looking at 1 week on, 1 week off. So you have cohorts of kids and doing different weeks. Some are doing different days with cohorts of kids, but that's a requirement that we need to work on and plan for and submit to the state. And the last is going back to full remote learning. So I think one of the things that we learned in the emergency remote learning are some of the great things that worked well educationally and some of the things that we can do better and change. So we actually have teams working, they started this week, building-based teams and a district-based team working on our remote learning. So reflecting on what went well, what didn't, and then establishing a new plan, which we're going to be going over on Friday with the staff. So we have teachers, principals, nurses, teaching assistants, custodians, parents, Board of Health, everyone working together on this so that it's a community engagement piece, so that we all can take a look at what we need for September and what the opening is going to look like. We've purchased a lot of the personal protection equipment that we need to have. We've purchased thousands of masks, both adult and kid. We've done the sanitizing gel, all the cleaning supplies, gowns, footies, you name it. So we've really been trying to get ahead of all that. The state has recommended that we buy at least 3 months supply of that. So that's what we're looking at right now. Everything from masks to face shields, we got it all. So we're really in good shape with that. But there's still a lot of issues to iron out in terms of whether we open up in person in September. I'm sending out a survey to parents this week, asking them it's going to be multiple surveys during the summer to try to get a sense of what parents are thinking in terms of sending their kid back. and whether or not they're going to use transportation or not, because we need to have all that data for our planning purposes. So that's going to go out this week. I encourage parents to make sure they fill out that survey, get it back to us online, and then we'll use that information to move forward. I appreciate the support that the community gives us each year. Parents were extremely supportive during the spring. It was not easy for them. They were trying to work from home and then trying to support their kids. So I just really appreciate the work that they did. And then of course, always supporting us budget-wise at town meeting is always appreciated. A couple of things too, all the information that we're going over in terms of our opening will be posted on our website, www.medfield.net. And there's also a link on there that has all the information for the Dale Street building project as that continues to move forward. We haven't really stopped on that. We had a building meeting last night. We've put the brakes on a few things and slowed the timelines down, but we're still moving ahead with that. So all that information is posted for everyone to see.
Medfield TV has been working with the Medfield schools to put together various end-of-the-year videos, including Senior Recognition Night, Class Day, and the Evening of Excellence. A special thanks to Stephanie Worthley for helping us put these videos together. We also covered the Rolling Rally, with a ton of help from the community of Medfield. Thank you to everyone who submitted photos and videos to our Dropbox, which helped us put together a recap video of this great event for the graduating class of 2020.
We're so excited that you could be here, and we're really excited that we're going to have a live graduation for you in July. Woo! Let's go Warriors!
The Rolling Rally recap and other school-related videos can be viewed in their entirety on our watch page, medfield.tv/watch, or our YouTube channel, Medfield TV. Next up, we want to thank our town administrator, Christine Trierweiler, for being so hands-on with getting the Selectmen meeting streaming live for our town. On Saturday, June 27th, Medfield had a town meeting.
So we have a very large quorum relative to this, to our size and to the number of folks that we get at town meeting of 250, and that's an element of our charter. So it requires us, before we start the town meeting, to have 250 voters who are registered with the town clerk in order to begin the town meeting. So we were waiting for the legislation that was going to enable the selectmen to be able to reduce that. There was a lot of conversation because we saw the early phases of the legislation that came out of the state Senate, and they were providing for two things. One was the capacity to be able to reduce the quorum down to 10%. And the other thing was the authorization to be able to limit the warrant to essential articles, mostly that had a budgetary impact, because one of the key dates is June 30th, which is the end of the fiscal year for both the town and the state. Best practice for sure is to have a budget before the end of one fiscal year going into the next fiscal year. Obviously, that's been one of the principal purposes of our annual town meeting. The second week of June, we were able to put up an initiative before the selectmen, which they did vote on and approve, to reduce our quorum to 10%, so to 25 persons. Not that we wanted to reduce the number of people necessarily who came. We wanted everybody to use their best judgment about that, but the worst case scenario would have been to have conducted a town meeting the way that we did outside and have the crowd that we eventually were able to draw, 180 people. So anyway, we looked at the field. We looked at what would be the configuration of the field if we were to try to socially distance our quorum. Sarah Raposa had created a kind of a map, and then Chris Allen built on that just to see how much territory we would have to cover in order to be able to safely distance 250 seats. I think when we got to the field, it was very natural to use the elevation of the stands as the place that we would create the podium. We knew that we had to social distance the people that were going to be on the podium, so rather than use tables, we determined that we would use desks. We ended up changing microphone covers. We got some very inexpensive but effective microphone covers. So every time somebody came up to the microphone, we had some volunteers that would change the microphone covers. We had separate microphones for everybody that was up on the podium. And then we started talking about all of the other, components having to do with, public safety. We knew we were going to be outside. We knew we were going to have, sunshine out there and all the implications. So we got great cooperation from the town clerk's office in terms of the way that we would filter in the people and the traffic. And then from public safety, we wanted to make sure we had a presence in case, people who came to the meeting, we wanted to know that there was an ambulance that was going to be parked there, that we had the chief of police and the police there to help to kind of administer so that it was going to be done safely. Seating, the masks, the microphones, sanitizers, the parking, the entrance to the field, the exit from the meeting, which we did in a kind of more orderly way than just to dissolve the meeting and send people on their way. All of those things were things that were, well choreographed. And I have to give most of the credit, to Christine and to her team and to all of the other folks that run the departments in town, because it was pretty much an interdisciplinary kind of a thing. Everybody had to participate to make sure that we could pull it off and pull it off safely. That, together with the work that the Warrant Committee and the selectmen did and the school department did in order to be able to have the dialogue to be able to get to the consensus budget, I think were the key elements.
We were going to have a very difficult budget season before that even started. We were looking at a pretty significant deficit, somewhere upwards of 2 million. We had a number of projects coming up in the near future. As Warrant Committee, Board of Selectmen, and Town Administration were working and had been working for the last year or so to shore up the town's capital needs by asking all the departments to come together and work on a 5-year plan. And what we were going to do was to ask the town to vote for the creation of a capital stabilization fund, which would have mirrored the town's municipal stabilization fund that we voted on, I think, 2 years ago. And we were going to ask for an amount to fund that. We hadn't set on the amount yet. It was probably going to be somewhere around $1 million. We have all these capital needs, and every year we kind of kick the can down the road to plug the holes in the budget. We want to stop doing that. That was going to be a big ask already. And given the deficit and various structural issues with the town budget, I mean, we're a town that our budget is reliant on the tax base. We don't have a large commercial tax base. It's all residential, or mostly residential. COVID hits and the budget situation goes from bad to worse. We needed to first figure out when town meeting was going to be. Then we needed to vote on a balanced budget for pre-COVID. So we needed to get to a spot where we had what would have been the balanced budget had town meeting happened when it was supposed to happen. Then we needed to figure out what the post-COVID budget shortfall was in order to get a post-COVID balanced budget present to when town meeting eventually would happen. And to do that, we needed to come up with some sort of reasonable projection of what reduced income would be and what, if anything, we might get from the state or federal government. I think the Board of Selectmen made the right decision that, let's use the time we have, but we want to get this town meeting done before the summer. Because what would happen if you kicked off town meeting is you'd have to have what's called a 1/12 budget. So you're budgeting month to month until you have that town meeting, which is, I just don't think that's the best situation for the town. We all came together and decided to budget a 10% reduction because we thought that was high enough cushion, but not quite to the 20%, because if we got to the 20%, you're talking layoffs. Make any irreversible decisions. If it turned out, we do get, more stimulus money than we may think right now, or, something shakes out a different way. We wanted to be able to have the ability to adapt and to change with the changing circumstances. At least as of now, there's definitely going to be a fall town meeting. Now that could absolutely change tomorrow. The main purpose of that town meeting is to vote on everything that was supposed to be on the docket for annual town meeting. Prior to COVID, there were, I think, 41 articles that had the potential to grow to about 46. At last I was told, to do the June town meeting, the decision was made to cut it down to only budget articles. But since we were lowering the quorum so much, we didn't want to have anything more than we absolutely needed to run the town.
You can view the full Board of Selectmen meetings and the town meeting on our watch page, medfield.tv/watch, or on our YouTube channel, Medfield TV. Thanks for watching this special quarantine edition of Mupdates, your monthly Medfield updates. To stay up to date with all things Medfield, be sure to like Medfield TV on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, @Medfield TV. Watch full episodes of all of our shows on our watch page, medfield.tv/watch, or on our YouTube page, Medfield TV. Lastly, don't forget to tune in to our cable stations, channels 8, 12, and 22 on Comcast, and channels 36, 45, and 47 on Verizon. See you next month for another episode of Mupdates, your monthly Medfield updates.